Basically, I was a kid. I grew up in Long Grove and moved to Pueblo, Colorado in 72, I believe. Um, and while I was there, I had sculpted my first mass, a couple of mass and things in Long Grove, several actually, in Long Grove, and then moved to Pueblo, continued sculpting, and I had my dentist, Joe Scheibel, was wonderful. He made a cast of my face out of dental alginate, poured dental stone in it so I could sculpt appliances and things on that. And I did. I made 8 makeups and different things. Well, one night, he calls me up and he says, "Hey, my brother's here. Would you want to, I'd like you to bring over some of your stuff and show it to my brother." And I said, "Sure, Joe." So I bring over the stuff and he's looking at it. Well, it turns out his brother is head of the art department at the Southern University. I used to be UCSC or something, University of Southern Colorado, something, I don't know. But anyway, he looked at the stuff, offered me a scholarship to make monsters for art credit, and I turned him down because I didn't think I could make a living. So that should have been the moment, wasn't the moment. Then fast forward a few years, I'm going to college up here in Greeley to become an art teacher. I thought that'd be a pretty good gig. And, well, I started making masks for drawing credit and stuff. They were very tolerant of me. And I was also, to make a little money on the side, painting masks for the Party Palace here in Greeley. And it wasn't much money, but it was something. And so I ended up going to a costume contest in a Don Post werewolf in hands, beautiful piece, and lost to a guy that was wearing a mask that I'd painted for Party Palace. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to make a costume that'll win contests for next year. So I started in November, sculpted Andromeda. I was going to do this whole alien thing. And so the moment became right around when I took it in to show Jim, well, look, I made a mask, not just painted existing masks. And he goes, could you make more of this mask for me to sell at the store? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess so. I think that was the moment. That moment was compounded when Jim Lawrence called me from Morris Costumes and wanted to know if they could carry the masks, because then I made a few and started carrying them in, or advertising them in Fangoria magazine. Jim saw them, and so there was a squishy room between making that one and showing it to Jim Faust at Party Palace, and Jim Lawrence wanted to know if I could mass produce them. Right in there was that moment when it's like, maybe I could make a living doing this. Now, these things nowadays, it would be an easy yes, but back then it was a very different world. It's hard to describe how hard it was to get started in the business. Back then, it was very, very closed, black box sort of things. Well, the early masks, the ones that Jordu likes, are all kind of merge into one for me. Time Traveler, Cretan, Krem, Human Error, Andromeda, all those are kind of like one mask. That was an era, and I couldn't say, oh, Krem's the one that rings my chimes. That era was kind of magic for me because I found a way to make money making monsters. And so that, I don't know if I could pick it from that era. There's 2 masks that we produced that had a huge impact on me personally, but neither of them I sculpted. So I think they probably were my favorite, even though I didn't sculpt them. And that would be, first of all, the sixth finger that John Chambers sculpted. There's a whole long story that I'll probably be telling in Lee's book about what poor John Chambers had to go through to get me that mold. It's a good story. You don't want that now. It'd take your whole interview. That was kind of the mask that really messed with my head as a kid, six finger. The other mask that really blew me away was Giger's Alien. And, both of those were relatively easy to acquire and license and produce back in the day. Again, that's back before the movie companies got greedy. Well, not greedy, capitalistic. It's like, hey, we can make tons off these licenses. So those stand out as far as mass. As far as props, I don't know that that's really the question you're asking, so you can delete this. But as far as props, it's the electric chair, and specifically, it's shake and bake. To me, that's a product that's going to be very hard for us to ever top. We probably never will. Not just the product itself, but what it did to the Halloween industry, the haunted house industry, I should say. We would do Making Monsters again in a heartbeat. We loved it. It was really a magic experience. However, I've found with all these amazing things we've done, and we've had these moments that were amazing, we're so busy, we have so much responsibility, so much to do, it's hard to seize the moment. But yes, we would do it again. I've talked to Jordu and Mikey and the crew, and everybody loved it. Now, I'm sure a lot of people out in Hollywood and a lot of people that have done reality shows have a different opinion. We just lucked out. I don't know if it was a God thing or what, but Warm Springs production had a very different attitude about television. They didn't set stuff up. They didn't make us fight and cuss and create all this drama. They just let us be ourselves. And when they found out that we were a little bit stupid and made mistakes, and you just throw Jordu into the mix and you've got drama. So that was awesome, and everybody loved it. And the crew that filmed us, the cameras should have been on them. I say that, and you think, oh, that he's being nice. I'm telling you, these people were so colorful and so unique, each and every one in their own way. You could have done a reality show on them filming us, and it would have been as good or better. Jordu is, this is not building him up to be nice or something. Jordu is truly amazing, and I've been sculpting all my life almost, and I sit there and watch him, and it's like, what's going on here? How do you do that? And I filmed him, and I watched the film, and it's like, wow. So he's super talented. As far as being a live wire, let me tell you, when he started, he kind of was a little bit, in fact, the way he comes across on film, he's a little less than he can really be in person, believe it or not. People probably think, oh, he's really hamming it up for the camera. Let me tell you, he isn't. In fact, when it was like behind the scenes stuff and the stuff that could have been used for a sizzle reel, it was just too inappropriate. We go to restaurants, and I'm sure the staff thinks that there's something wrong with this guy's head, because he does crazy things. Anybody in Hollywood can tell you about Jordu. So no, he is quite a live wire. When they approached us about the show, I said, there's a guy I know that I think should be a part of this show. And that was Jordu, and he really spiced it up. He's not only a phenomenal sculptor, but he is quite an actor. all of us, we can do us. We can do what we do, and we can say what we say. We're not great actors. I've been in front of the camera enough that I can be comfortable and a little flamboyant. But Jordu, he could be a professional actor, and that was actually, he wanted to make monsters and he wanted to be an actor, and actually making monsters gave him that opportunity to do both, and it was wonderful. So yeah, he's really, really, really crazy.